What's good, my fellow peasants? How are you doing? Welcome back to another video and another glorious Monday and week. Some would call it auspicious. I'm using a very different camera today, an actual camera rather than my usual crappy webcam setup. So there's things like ISOs and zooming and focusing, and I'm a peasant at technology. So if this video looks shit, then blame Arden. But I want to cover what could potentially be the real ending of Final Fantasy 15. I say real ending because whether this is going to be legit, a canonical, this is now the ending of 15, or Square Enix are just doing a doopy floopy poopy, they're just making an alternate version for the sake of making some fans who are just too depressed to deal with the tragedy of 15, just to make them happy. And of course what I'm talking about is the upcoming novel. Upcoming being we don't really have a date, and Japan are going to be getting it first, and Square Enix said they're going to try to get a Western adaptation, but Dawn of the Future, woo, this is going to be a bombshell in the story of 15. And before I get into the story teasers that we've had, because this was only released in Japan, thanks to our community member Tabitha, by the way, Tabitha Potter, for posting this, because this was a This was a translation that was found on Twitter that we didn't get here in the West, which is actually giving some teasers and hints, like a little blurb about what this Dawn of the Future book is going to be after episode Arden. Yeah, it's pretty spicy, so I'm going to quickly flow through this. This translation has been helped by quite a lot of fans from the Final Fantasy community. They've all been sort of adding what they think the actual accurate translation is. But before I get into it, I'm just going to once again say, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of what I think Square Enix is going to do, which is again dropping a bombshell via book form. If you're going to do something as big as completely switch up the ending of a game, doing it in book form is a bit risky. But regardless, it's happening, and Angus's need to be peppered. So here I am to pepper them. So this novel is going to be written by Emi Nagashima. Emi Nagashima is the pen name. Her real name might be Jun Aishima. I can't deal with these names, but she's written the Nier Automata novels in the past, which got actually really well received. Also written Final Fantasy 13, The Promise, so the episode 0, the 13-2 fragments before and after. So they have written stuff for the Final Fantasy series before, but I'm going to be looking at the screen a lot because I've got it written here, and again the translations. The thing with Japanese translations is sometimes a word can make such a huge difference in the way it's being interpreted and translated. But to kick off, the first lines that the translator put up was to oppose the gods or to abide by fate. Originally they put resist fate, which really confused me. So this is going to be a book about to oppose the gods or to abide by fate. Another conclusion hidden within Final Fantasy 15. Okay, I won't give my 2 cents too much on that one, but my question is, what gods? Such a huge part of 15 was that all the different astrals had really different points of view. Leviathan thought differently to Titan, Ifrit definitely to Shiva, Bahamut, I think he's a probable dick. But of course the fate being, as we saw in episode Arden, which had so many parallels. The more I've looked at them and gone back, even the expression of like Arden having to watch his girlfriend die, and Noctis having to do the same way their faces were, the way that Luna and Aero were stood in the same fields. Like there were so many parallels that this was a repeating tragedy, and that was a fate set in stone. So of course the gods did go along with this to a degree, and this whole book is going to be about overturning it. So first of all, Arden. This one's quite straightforward. The man who saved those from demons of the Star Scourge, meant to become the founder king of Lucis, meant to become. We definitely got that from the Arden anime, that it was actually Arden who was supposed to be chosen by the crystal, or at least that's one interpretation you could take of it, and that before Lucis made Arden snap, he was actually going to get picked. And that's part of why Awa was really shocked, and of course why Arden feels like his throne was stolen, but who instead bore a tragic fate. Okay, now the next one's really interesting, and I'd like to hear any of your ideas on this. So Aranea. I was really excited to see that Aranea is actually going to be getting featured, because like before, I said I thought I doubted it because it was just going to be a small DLC, back when the Dawn of the Futures were actually still going to be a DLC. Now, if my memory serves me, the Dawn of the Future description was that this was going to be Aranea's worst day. Total crap, as the Niflheim Empire is finally collapsing, probably going to be a huge part of what switches Aranea from the Nifs over to helping out Noctis, which again was a huge deal that we never really found much context about. And we just kind of assumed it's because the Nifs were dabbling in demons, and those are Aranea's ultimate enemies. But Aranea, the Imperial Commodore, is entrusted with a Girl of Destiny amidst the crumbling Niflheim Empire of the Empire's final day. So entrusted with the Girl of Destiny. Now, my mind would have boggled onto this if there were that many women in Final Fantasy 15, but because there's not, and there's certainly even less who are Girls of Destiny, I'm gonna guess it's Lunafreya. That Aranea helps Lunafreya out of Niflheim during its final day of crumbling and gets her on the mission, which will eventually take her over to see Titan and yada yada yada. But there's really not much to go on. Supposedly the kanji used was also very similar to what was used during the episode Terra Wars battle, so with Serra, but that is almost most definitely just a coincidence. Let's go over to Lunafreya now, the Oracle who awakens from death to find her own body altered. Jesus. Of course, how this happens, we don't know, and I can't even speculate, quite frankly. Again, I love the Regis thing. I think, no, the chances it's going to be the Regis thing, that Regis is controlling time, very slim to none. But do I need you, Square Enix, to have a explanation on that kind of level, with that kind of complexity, juice, and depth, and something that valid? Yes, I really do. Please do not just wake Luna up. As much as I like her, I don't just want characters returning for the sake of it. And one of the big things that flashes in my mind is that message during Royal Edition when Gentiana promised Luna that she would get to be with Noctis. Of course, I took that promise, and most of us did, as in the afterlife. But potentially, was that actually what she was saying? Was she maybe promising a bit more than that? But this part about to find her own body altered, now this is a curious one. So altered, there's been some discussions whether it could just be simply transformed, like metamorphosized, or she suddenly sprouted into Stella, which honestly I don't know. Whatever alterations that Luna, when she wakes up, is going to find within her own body, whether that's going to be on a physical level, and why Square Enix would even do that, I'll let you guys. I'm not going to go too deep down in the rabbit hole of speculations. I want you guys to do that in the comment section below. I'm just going to give you guys the fuel. So the next part is Noctis, the true king, who ponders his fate over a prolonged stretch of time. So I get maybe that could potentially be the 10-year time jump. Now, when he's in the crystal for 10 years, that was a massive portion of time. And in fact, when I think more about it, we saw a lot of Noctis's character development and the events that spurred elements of his character development, from a lazy, useless, doubtful slob to this amazing, sacrificial, true king of light that the three other bros were proud enough to call king and bow down to. It was such a huge transformation, and one of the biggest catalysts was, of course, that 10-year time jump. But we actually don't really know what even happened in that. We have no clue. I said it would be cool if they linked it up with the anime. And then finally, a story of the world's dawn, spelling out Final Fantasy 15's new history. Now, that makes me feel, and what my gut does say about all of this is, whatever does come in this Dawn of the Future book, it's going to be canonical. It's going to be a canonical timeline. I don't know whether it's the only canonical timeline. This is Final Fantasy. There's no way of knowing. So, bullet points of what is potentially going to be the real ending of Final Fantasy 15 in this book. There's going to be stuff on Arden. He's going to feature. Aranea is going to escape Niflheim with the Girl of Destiny, which is going to set events into motion, which will later lead on to Lunafreya possibly awakening from death. But whether the implication of that is just resurrection, I think it could go above just mere resurrection. I don't think that when Luna died, you know, she potentially might have not have died in the way we thought. I'd sooner that than them just do a simple resurrection. Like, for example, what I'm thinking is it would be cool if when she went down and she released her oracle powers, which unlocked Noctis's armature, so there was something in that magic, there was something in that sacrifice that didn't fully kill Luna's off. It preserved her soul in some way. Maybe Gentiana had some kind of role in that. Hence why we see her constantly in ghost form. You know, that's not a normal thing. We don't see that for many other characters at all. Of course, we see one with Regis. He's a Lucii, which makes a lot of sense. So what I would really like, because one of the huge parts of the 15 story was constantly referencing Noctis as the King of Light, the Prince of Light, the bringer of the new dawn. All of this had a lot to do with Eos. Now, whether she's real or whether she's symbolic, I would really like it if in some way Luna Freya became the new goddess of the dawn. I always really thought that would be such a cool thing to do. That they become the god and goddess of light. If you want to blow people's schnizzles off, though I don't know if you're ever going to be able to do that really in book form. Definitely if they had done it in DLC, if part of that transformation, even if it was the Eos wing. Just the Eos wing, or something closer to the goddess of light. If Luna reawoken as that, and that was her part of her transformation, and you link that really intrinsically and smartly into the story, yay! I will be more than up for that. So there we go, I've rambled enough, guys. What do you think? I've really not seen this actually spread out that far. I've not seen a video covered on it. I've not even seen any news covered on it, so I thought this would be a really cool video to get out to let most of you know. This is the kind of story content we're dealing with. This is what we're up against. Oh, I don't know. Or then would the whole thing just be undermined? Does this mean even if you override the girl of destiny? I mean, who could that be? I didn't know. I don't want. Is that fair for him? Is he going to get walked back? Is this whole thing going to side with her fancy look like? We're just going to see any kind of longevity after that. Does he just come up with a new recipes in this universe? Oh. Well, there we go, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I will see you guys on the next video.